Hello, and welcome back to Black River Paranormal Investigation. I'm your host, Rich Hardway, and today I was going to go ahead and do an episode continuing on with the Little White House. So I kind of talked about getting the house and um, my aunt looking through the window at my daughter. That's in the introduction episode of the Little White House. And then the last episode I talked about Ermin, who was my grandfather, and my wife, her encounters with him. And today I thought I'd introduce you to my favorite spirit in the whole wide world, Roy Dale Hardway, who was my dad's middle brother. Dale died in a tragic car accident in 1962 at the age of 21. I have believed for at least the majority of my life, since I was probably like 13, that Dale is my spirit guide. He's definitely my conscience. Dale has kept me out of trouble when I've tried to get myself into trouble. And I've just always have had this real strong connection to Dale, even though he was killed 5 years before I'm born. So I want to go through and tell you a little bit about Dale and the house. In 1962, February 6th, my Uncle Dale and my Uncle Richard were in a car coming through North Ridgeville. They're about 3 miles from home. They're drunk. It's a rainy night, and Dale skids the car about 500 yards down the street and then runs into a gigantic big tree. I think it was an oak. Don't quote me on that. Could have been ash or something. But this is a Plymouth convertible, and it throwed my Uncle Richard out of the car, who suffered severe damage, but he went on. He survived the wreck. Dale died at the scene. His last words were, "I just want to go home." And he died in this guy's front yard. The impact of the crash was at, the newspaper clippings from back in the day say, around 3 o'clock. So his mother, my grandmother, at the time of the crash, the impact, sat up in her bed and screamed, "Oh no," and gave a blood-curdling scream, according to family reports. So I owned that house for 10 years. At about the 8-year mark, I followed what the psychic Sylvia Browne had wrote in a book about sending your loved ones on to the other side to cleanse your house and free the spirits, because they're just lost souls, or they're afraid to go to the light. So I followed that whole, and I got to tell you, my house became absolutely empty. There was never another paranormal anything in the home once I did that. But for 8 years, I lived there, and there was a lot. I too used to wake up, I'm not going to say every single morning of 8 years, but it sure felt like it. 3:05. You could almost set a clock to it. Like, I would wake up and look at the alarm clock, and it's 3:05 in the morning. This went on for years and years and years. Until I finally cleansed the house. Some of the things that went on in the house was you would hear chairs sliding across the attic floor. It was just a crawl space attic. There was absolutely nothing up there but insulation, so nothing could drag across it, but it would wake you up. My wife experienced it, and later on I had a girlfriend who moved in with me, and she was terrified. She seen things, heard things. You would turn lights off and they would come back on. You would set something down and it would get moved. You'd put your lighter down. I was a smoker then. I put my lighter down on the kitchen table, turn around, lighter's gone. You find it a week later on your pillow. A lot of electrical things went on in the house. Like, you'd be in the bathroom and you'd almost suffer a brownout, like the power would get weak in the house or something. Or in the middle of the night, all of a sudden you hear the dishwasher running. And you didn't turn it on. You didn't set any controls for it to come on. It just come on its own. So a lot of that went on. It was so bad electrical wise that I had a electrician friend who owned his own business, and they asked him to come out and take a look at my house, and so he did. And he had a couple things to say, but he didn't think that any of the things he saw would cause any of the problems that I'm describing. He did say that the electrical in the house was from the 60s. The breaker box was very old. It actually, I think it was from like 67. He said it needed rewired in a new breaker box. And even if he did it for me at a great discount and that I was his helper, he didn't have to pay his normal helpers. But if I was the guy going in a crawl space and pulling wire through and all this stuff, I was still looking at like 10 grand to rewire this house. But he didn't feel like there was any problems with the wiring to the point that it would cause some of the electrical phenomenons that we touched on. A lot of dreams about Dale when I lived in that house, and since I haven't lived in the house, not nearly as many. One night, me and my wife, Lisa, we had the same dream about Dale. Figure that out. So we both dreamed that we're in like a wooded setting. There's a cabin. He's on a bicycle. He's young. He's younger than me, to believe it or not. He's like early 20s. He's wearing a fishing hat that used to like an old man wear. And he's doing wheelies on this bicycle and jumping it over a creek ravine. And he kind of gave us a little warning in the dream. He said that we should stay at the cabin the next day and not go to work. We should take the day off and enjoy and relax life. We both had this same dream. We got up in the morning getting ready for work, and I looked there and go, I had a damnedest dream. And she said, me too. And I was like, what did you dream about? And she goes, your Uncle Dale. It just went crazy. Long story short, we took that day off. It was a snow day. It snowed that day. And we took the day off, and there was a big car wreck on the freeway system, and a couple people died in it. And it was on the news, the 6 o'clock news, you're watching it, and they're showing this semi-trucks hitting these cars. And it happened about the same time we would probably normally be going down this freeway system. So, I don't know. I believe Dale gave us a warning, and because we both had the exact same dream, I believe we didn't blow it off, we took it. But I love my Uncle Dale. I go to his gravestone a lot. I try to take care of it. I clean it, take cleaner out there and scrub it and pull the weeds from around the headstone. They just mow over the top. It's a flat one. They don't really pull back the weeds, this, that, and the other. I usually go out there a couple times a year in the summer, spring and fall, and kind of work on it a little bit. And my grandfather, who hunted that house, my Aunt Eula, who died in '69, who hunted that house, and then him are all in a row. They're right beside each other. So that's my Uncle Dale. He was if he would have been alive today, he would have been like a extreme sport person, right? He'd have been the type going down the side of a mountain on a snowboard, or the extreme BMXing or motocross, or My dad used to tell a story about he had a uh, he had a raccoon, and it was a thief. It'd come and it would steal your stuff. But he just sounded like a really good character and someone that I would have loved to have been able to spend time with. But on the house itself, and I'm going to do another video on the house probably later today, just get it done. But um, I believe I was destined to buy that house to free the spirits of my family who resided in that house. And make no mistake about it, everybody who come into that house knew that house was haunted. There was just so many things that went on. But everybody could feel it. Everybody knew it. And I'm the one, I believe that I wound up with the house to go in and free the spirits and set them free. And that I did. And the house was empty. I'll be honest, I missed it. I missed the crazy shenanigans that went on in that house. But I'm happy that maybe I went ahead and set my family onto the other side. So that's my Uncle Dale, the introduction to my Uncle Dale. And I hope you enjoyed this video. And I will catch you guys soon. Take care.